Welcome to my next Lost, Season 6 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you are caught up to the point where I am every watching or watching Lost, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, fine. If you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, you already know, I've already seen the show Lost 3 other times. It's in my top 5 favorite shows of all time. I absolutely love it. So join me on the journey along with the legendary Crazy Coffin Man, who of course is watching Lost for the very first time, to discuss this awesome and amazing show in the comments section. However, I don't want you to spoil anything past this episode in this review video. So with all that said, this will be Lost, Season 6, Episode 14. The title of this episode is called The Candidate, and this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. A very memorable episode of Lost. So we start out with a flash sideways, just out of surgery. John Locke is waking up from the anesthesia with his surgeon, Jack Shephard, of course. John recognizes Jack, who refreshes Locke's memory about how the two of them met after the flight from Sydney. Jack explains that John was run down by a car and that while he operated on him, he found that John might be a candidate for a new surgical treatment to repair his pre-existing paralysis. Locke immediately and firmly refuses the order. John's fiancée, Helen Norwood, arrives and thanks Jack for his saving him, even gives Jack a kiss. On the island, Jack wakes and finds himself in an outrigger. Sayid is nearby and welcomes him to the Hydra Island. And then Sawyer, Hurley, Kate, Claire are held at gunpoint by Whitmore's crew, are led into aminal cages. And Sawyer refuses to go in a cage again and seizes a rifle from Seamus, but Charles Whitmore grabs Kate and threatens to kill her. Sawyer tries to call his bluff, but Whitmore informs Sawyer that he has a list of names including Ford, the Kwans, and Reyes, but not Kate Austin. So he says it doesn't matter to him whether she lives or dies. Again, against Kate's protest, Sawyer gives up his gun and they are taken into the cages, like season 2 of Lost when Sawyer and Kate were in cages, the same area. Whitmore approaches Sawyer and says that although Sawyer won't believe it, he is doing this for Sawyer's own good. Whitmore checks with his men whether the fence is live. He is told by Paul that it will be an hour. He orders them to work faster because he's coming. Back to our flash sideways, Jack enters a dental lab where Bernard is working on a cast of a patient's mouth. Jack asks to see John Locke's patient file, explaining that he is Locke's surgeon and he believes John Locke is a client of Bernard's about 3 years ago, adding that the injury that caused Locke's paralysis. Bernard questions Jack's interest in Locke, and Jack starts to explain that he met Locke after a flight back from Sydney, Australia. Bernard immediately interrupts, explaining that he was seated across the aisle from Jack on Oceanic Flight 815, and he was flirting with his wife, Rose. He calls it pretty weird. Bernard refuses to breach confidentiality, but writes down the name Anthony Cooper and says that this man was brought in with John Locke 3 years ago. As they part ways, he says that he hopes Jack will find what he is looking for. Sayid explains to Jack that Whitmore attacked their group with the mortars and that Locke saved Jack. He says that the rest of Locke's group have scattered into the jungle, so that it is just now John Locke, Sayid, or fake Locke, the Man in Black, Sayid, and Jack. The Man in Black arrives and announces that Jack's friends have been seized by Whitmore and now wants to rescue them. Jack asks Jack asks why Whitmore would capture them, and Locke replies sarcastically that he would ask, but he doesn't think Whitmore will talk to him. He suggests they break them out, run for the plane, and be off the island before Whitmore knows what is happening. Jack says that they are not his people and that he is not leaving the island. Locke, or the Man in Black, hopes Jack will change his mind, but in the meantime, he needs Jack to get his friends to trust him. The Man in Black reinforces that Jack can trust him by pointing out that although he could kill Jack and his friends at any time without anything, he hasn't, and has instead saved Jack's life, and now he wants to save Jack's friends too. Sawyer and Kate pace anxiously in the cage. When Kate claims that Whitmore wouldn't have killed her, Sawyer explains that in the cave, Kate's name was crossed out, and so Whitmore was correct. He doesn't need her. Jin tells Sun about seeing their beautiful daughter, Jian, in a picture. Sun gives Jin his wedding ring that she has been saving. Suddenly, the power generator dies, and the smoke monster appears and attacks Whitmore's team, killing several. Seamus is thrown into the bowers of the cage, falling to the ground next to the cage. Kate tries to reach the keys, hanging onto Seamus' belt, while Frank kicks at the cage door. Jack arrives and unlocks the cage with the keys and frees the group. When Kate asks what he's doing there at the cages, Jack points to the smoke monster and says he's with him. Making their way to the plane, Kate asks Jack whether he is coming with them now, and Jack tells her that he will help them get on the plane but not join them because he is not meant to go. Saeed arrives and says that they need to go because John, or the Man in Black, is waiting. Back to our flash sideways, Jack goes to the Sun Palms nursing home to see Anthony Cooper, where he is met by some resistance from a nurse. Helen also arrives there, and after some talking by Jack, asks if that they let it go, clarifying that John doesn't want the operation and that it should be enough that he saved John's life. Jack said it's not enough. They go to see Cooper, who is in a vegetative state right now, and Helen reveals that he, of course, is Locke's father. Back on the island, the Man in Black strides up to the plane, unfazed by Whitmore's guards as they shoot at him. He breaks one of the guards' necks and shoots at the other, and takes the dead man's digital wristwatch. He goes into the plane and examines exposed wiring leading to a pack of C4 explosives. The survivors arrive and find the dead man. The Man in Black emerges from the plane and admits that he killed them, but Whitmore knew he would kill them, otherwise he wouldn't have removed his little fences. He explains that Whitmore wants them all together in a confined space so that he can kill them all, showing them the C4 he found. Locke says that their new plan is to leave via the submarine because they can't be sure the plane does not have any more booby traps. Richard tries to remind everyone that Hurley tries to remind everybody that Richard Alpert said the Man in Black is not meant to leave the island, but Sawyer cuts him off. Screw Alpert, he ain't here. Sawyer then thanks the Man in Black for twice saving them and says that he was wrong about him. The Man in Black says that the submarine will be heavily defended and that they will need everyone. Jack reiterates that he will help, but he is not going to leave with them. As they leave, Claire apologizes to the Man in Black, who says that he understands. Sawyer whispers to Jack that he doesn't trust the Man in Black one bit, and that asks Jack to make sure that the Man in Black doesn't get onto the sub. And Sawyer says get him in the water, and he'll take care of the rest. Back to our flash sideways at Locke's bedside. Locke, still groggy from his surgery, murmurs, "Push the button. I wish you would have believed me." Claire arrives, and she and Jack go to the cafeteria to resume their discussion, which has been cut short when Jack had to leave during the reading of their father's will. Claire tells Jack that the lawyer told her that her father especially wanted her to have a inland music box. She shows it to Jack, who says he doesn't know the meaning of and then adds that he didn't even know about her. Claire asks how their father died, and Jack recounts that he drank himself to death, and he was found in an alley in Sydney, and the airplane had lost the body. Claire says that she just flew in from Sydney. Jack is befuddled when he realizes that Claire was also on Oceanic Flight 815. They open the music box and Catch a Falling Star plays. He offers to let Claire come stay at his flat. He says to Claire that they are not strangers. They, of course, are family. Everyone arrives at the dock, and Sawyer lays out their plan, specifically that Jack and Locke watch their backs and be the last to go to the dock. Sawyer's son, Frank, Jin, and Hurley go first. They face no resistance and board the sub, where they easily overpower the crew. Sawyer orders that the captain go to fire this thing up. Kate, Claire, and Saeed follow onto the dock. Locke gives Jack one of the backpacks, and they follow close behind. On the dock, Locke asks Jack to reconsider his decision not to leave, explaining that whoever told Jack to stay had no idea what he was talking about. Jack turns and says, "John Locke told me I needed to stay," and abruptly pushes the man in black off the deck and into the water. Kate looks around, asks what just happened, and is shot in the shoulder by Whitmore's team, who have arrived at the tree line. Jack carries Kate into the sub, and Sayid follows, leaving Claire and Locke in the firefight. Locke, or the man in black, shoots 3 of Whitmore's men. Sawyer goes above to find Claire and Locke shooting, or to see Claire, Locke shooting, as are the man in black. Locke, man in black, same person, I guess. And then as the man in black runs toward the sub, Sawyer closes the hatch, leaving the man in black and Claire outside. He uses the intercom to tell Frank to get the captain to go. And then Claire sees the sub leave, and as she runs to it, Locke restrains her with a look of satisfaction and replies, "Trust me, you don't want to be on that sub." Kate lies injured and is flustered that they've left Claire behind. Jack asks Jin for his pack to treat Kate's wound, only to find that the man in black has put the plane C4 in his bag and rigged the bomb, using the watch he stole from the guard as a timer. The timer is counting down from 3 minutes and 54 seconds. Jack realizes what is going on and tells them all that they have done exactly what the man in black wanted. Jack demands that they surface and tell Sawyer that the man in black intended all along to be left behind at the dock. Frank Lapidus informs them that the captain says it will take 5 minutes to surface. Sayid explains how to disarm the bomb, but he has some doubt whether it will work. Sawyer is about to pull the wires, but Jack stops him, saying that nothing is going to happen. The bomb won't detonate if they leave it alone. He explains that they have done exactly what the man in black wanted, just as the man in black said of Whitmore. He wanted to get us all in the same place at the same time. A nice enclosed space where we had no hope of getting out. He explains that the man in black had been saying he can't leave the island without them, but what is really the case is that he can't leave the island unless they're all dead. Jack summarizes that the man in black cannot kill them directly and is trying to get them to kill each other by pulling the wires from the C4. Jack asks Sawyer why Locke would use a timer and not just throw a bomb into a sub. He pleads that they will be okay. They just need to trust him. Sawyer says he's sorry, and quickly pulls the wires out. The timer stops at 1 minute 31 seconds, and nothing happens at first. The timer restarts and races down. Sayid says, "Listen carefully. There is a well on the main island half a mile south from the camp we just left. Desmond's inside it. The man in black wants him dead, which means you are going to need him. Do you understand me?" And Jack asks, why is Sayid telling him this? And Sayid hurriedly says, "Because it's going to be you, Jack." And then he picks up the C4 and runs down the passageway. The bomb explodes in his hand, killing Sayid. He is dead. At least on the island, but we have the flash sideways still. Water begins to flood the submarine. Frank Lapidus gets up and looks at a bulkhead hatch as it gives away and hits him with full force, followed by gushing water. Goodbye, Lapidus. What a good character. Jack finds Kate underwater and passes her to Hurley, giving him an emergency air cylinder and telling him to take her out. Hurley asks about Sayid, but Jack yells, "There is no more Sayid!" Sun, unfortunately, is pinned against the side of the chamber by a metal cabinet. Jin, Sawyer, and Jack struggle to move the heavy cabinet, but when they do, Sun is still trapped by a bar. A metal bar falls and strikes Sawyer on the head, knocking him out. Jack grabs him, but still wants to help Jin free Sun. Jin refuses the last emergency air cylinder and insists that he leave and save Sawyer. Jack has a long last look at Jin and Sun and swims out the submarine with Sawyer. Jin continues to try to free Sun despite her plea for him to go. They have a daughter. Somebody's got to look after Jeong. But he holds her and says he won't leave her because he said that in the last episode. They just reunited in the last episode. "I won't leave you." They embrace as water floods the submarine. They kiss, they embrace, and then the sub sinks and their hands drift apart in death. So Jin and Sun, at least on the island, are officially dead. A lot of Lost fans were upset by this. Back to our flash sideways, leaving the hospital, John Locke passes Jin, who is carrying yellow flowers, into the hospital room. Locke wheeled out by an orderly to meet his fiancée, Helen. Jack approaches Locke in the hall to say goodbye, and Locke simply thanks him. Jack tells him that he went to see his father to understand why he doesn't want the surgery. Visibly shaken by this intrusion into his privacy, Locke tells Jack that the accident which paralyzed him and put his father into a vegetative state was a plane crash. He explains that he had just qualified for his pilot's license and begged his father to be his first passenger, and keep in mind his father is terrified of flying. Locke had convinced him to come, telling his father that he could trust him. He says he doesn't know what he did wrong, but he knows it was his fault. Jack reminds Locke of their previous conversation at the airport, where Locke helped him come to terms with his father's absence, his death. And Jack tells Locke that he must also now come to terms with his father being gone. Although Locke tries to say his father isn't gone the same way Jack's is, but Anthony Cooper's a vegetable. Nothing's going on. And except that punishing himself won't bring him back, he says that what happened, happened, and that Locke can let it go. Jack says it's not easy, and he doesn't know how to let it go either, and he hopes that John Locke could go first. Locke laughs nervously and says goodbye. As he wheels away, Jack calls after him, "I can help you, John. I wish you believed me." Oh, it's something that Locke said to Jack. Locke pauses for a minute as if what Jack has just said is somehow familiar, and then leaves. Back on the island, Jack swims to the beach with Sawyer, who coughs up some water. Hurley and Kate stumble down the beach to meet them. Kate asks about Jin and Sun, but Jack shakes his head. And then Hurley and Kate sob, and Hurley has this cry where he's like, it's weird, like he almost was laughing, but obviously crying. And while Jack walks away to sea and cries bitterly. And then we have Locke, still at the pier, tells Claire that the submarine has sunk. Claire is shocked that they are all dead, but Locke says that not all of them are dead. He takes his pack and rifle, and Claire asks where he is going, and he replies, "To finish what I started." And that's what ends this episode of Lost. So, characters of the episode, Jack Shephard, Locke / the Men in Black. I think they both had good moments. And then I'll say Jin and Sun. Rest in peace to Jin and Sun. Obviously, we'll still see Jin and Sun in the Flash Sideways timeline, but they are indeed dead. As well as Saeed and Frank Lapidus. Or am I lying about Frank Lapidus? I forget about Saeed, but Saeed, we thought we were going to lose Saeed at the beginning of the season, and now he is officially dead in the island timeline. So, you've heard everything I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Lost and want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share this video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comments section and interact with me and the legendary Crazy Coffee Man. What's your score of this episode? Who are your characters of the episode, and anything else that you want to add? And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. Subscribe to the channel you're watching the video anyway. Help me get over 100K subscribers. Yes, I know, I set my goals pretty high. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.